Hey guys, this is Nelson with Average Home Theater, and I know it's been a little while. I had a very busy week at work, so I didn't get a chance to do my Quiet Place 2 review. So here I am on Friday afternoon filming this review. I saw it Monday on Memorial Day, and I have to say the experience was just okay. You know, the theater that I watched it in, they've recently renovated it, right? They have the leather recliners and all of that, and it's nice, but they have totally neglected the sound system. I don't think the sound system has been touched since that theater opened. So it was a little disappointing. You know, if you watch my other review, one of the best parts of the movie is the sound design, right? And especially in my theater, I have the Atmos setup and it sounds fantastic. So, I mean, I knew I wasn't going to a Dolby Cinema, but I thought at least, you know, just getting the theater experience would be good, and it was a little let down. But anyway, getting to the movie itself, you know, I'm gonna do spoiler free at first. It won't be very much, and then I'll go into a semi-spoiler review where I'll talk about some specifics, but I'm not gonna give everything away, especially since it's a brand new movie. But overall, the movie was good. You know, Krasinski once again showed how he's an up-and-coming talent in the behind the camera. You know, he does everything really well. I mean, I love the cinematography, the shots, the fact that he's shooting these movies on film. They look really good. And his writing is pretty good. Now, you know, this story, I mean, where do you go from the first one, right? I mean, it did everything so well. And what made it really good, it's kind of like the first Alien movie, right? With Sigourney Weaver, where it's just the unknown. You don't see the creature very much. So it just adds to the whole experience. And you know, it's hard to capture that again. I mean, how do you make a sequel doing the same exact thing? You can't. You have to go a different direction. And, you know, he did that and he didn't. I mean, yes, you see the creatures way more, but I don't think it's too crazy. I mean, I think what he did was done well. So, I mean, you know, anyway, everybody's seen the trailer, which is basically showing how or right when the invasion or the attack happens. So that's how the movie starts out. That's really, I mean, it's well done for the most part. There's something I'm going to talk about in spoilers that really bothers me, and the more I think about it, the more it bothers me. But yeah, it's, you know, you see how it happens. You know, they were a happy family. They were at the park for a baseball game. It's a small town, so it's probably the majority of the town is there. And, you know, this incident happens. So the effects are great. The little car scene, driving scene with Emily Blunt is, you know, it's done really well, even though I have an issue with that as well. But overall, the stunt and the effects are just, it's seamless. I didn't notice it. You know, I recently watched a little video with John Krasinski where he kind of breaks down that opening scene, and he shows how they did it and which part is, you know, shot and which one it was two shots, and the seam, and then how they blended in because the CGI is coming in and all that stuff. And, you know, I didn't even notice it. So did a really good job with it. But then, you know, basically the little girl, the daughter, they do say their names in this. I think his name is Lee, but I can't remember anybody else's name. But the little girl is the main character, right? I mean, you know, if you've seen the first one, which you should have if you're watching this review, you know, Krasinski dies. So what you see of him, of course, is a flashback, right? So anyway, so the little girl is the main character, and the family is on the move, right? Because of the incidents that happened at the end of the first one. And they had to leave because everything was, you know, destroyed and whatnot. And she knows that she can't take care of this family by herself. She needs help. So that's what the movie's about. They they get on the road immediately following the events of the first movie and look for help. And they run into Cillian Murphy, who you may know him from Batman Begins, not Batman Begins, The Dark Knight. And then, of course, the last one, The Dark Knight Rises, he plays Scarecrow. And he does a really good job in this movie. He plays a friend, and then, you know, they meet up with him, which you see that in the trailer, so I'm not giving that away. And it kind of goes from there. So I can't really say any more without giving away spoilers, other than the performances by the two kids, the daughter and the son, were both really, really good. Emily Blunt, she kind of took a back seat. You know, she did some stuff, but overall, you know, she wasn't like a real main character. It's the kids. And Cillian Murphy did a really good job in his part. He almost stole the show. You know, if he'd had maybe a little bit more to say, which he says quite a bit, but I don't know. He was, next to the girl, he was probably the best part of the movie as far as performances. So, you know, I'll give the movie, my ranking of the movie is an 8. I thought about it, and there's just a few things, and it's a sequel, you know. I mean, how do you top the first one? I just don't think you can. You know, I give the first one a 10. I mean, to me, it's just, for that type of movie, it's a 10. This one, it's about an 8. The way it looked great, but I'm in a theater, so, you know, picture quality is kind of hard to judge, but it looked great. Sound design is probably done really well, but I can't really say for sure because I was in the theater. So, you know, I'll update that when it comes out. I'll get the 4K disc and go from there. So that's it for the spoiler free. If you don't want to hear any more, turn it off and come back after you watch it. So let's get into this a little bit more in the movie. What I don't like, and it's what I was talking about earlier, when Krasinski goes, you know, the baseball game, they shut the game down because they see, you know, they don't know what it is. It looks like a meteor or something coming towards Earth. So they're like, okay, we're going to shut everything down, right? And him and the little girl get in the car, but then he decides to get out to go speak to the police officer. So he's walking up to the officer, and they're having a little conversation. And out of nowhere, bam, alien comes in, hits the police car, and it flies, right? Well, Krasinski's reaction is very what's the word I'm looking for? It just wasn't natural. I mean, the car flips, he immediately turns around and starts running. Now, human nature, if you see something flip a police car right in front of you, your first reaction is going to be like, oh crap, what's going on? You know, not, oh, and then turn around and start running. I mean, we all wish that people would react that way, especially, you know, with these active shooter situations and stuff that go on, unfortunately, in our country and in other places. But that's not normal. You know, you have to process what you saw. And I immediately noticed it, and it bothered me ever since I watched the movie. And a few seconds later, Emily Blunt is driving the car, which is the scene I was talking about. It was well done, but she's driving. She hasn't seen anything. But then all of a sudden, she sees an alien attack a car, and she does the exact same thing. She doesn't stop and say, what is that? You know, what's going on? She immediately turns the car and hauls butt. And just not a natural reaction, and it bugs the crap out of me. So, yeah, I don't know what he was thinking with that. Why, when they were watching what they filmed, and they said, oh man, that just doesn't look natural, because it doesn't at all. I've even gone back and watched some of the trailers, and some of the footage, it's exactly what I thought. Very unnatural, and it bugs the crap out of me. You know, and something else I don't like, I guess, is, and I say I don't like, it's just, what else could they do? You know, I think they did a good job with the story as far as, okay, they need help or whatever. They get on the road, they run into Cillian Murphy, and, you know, there's a couple of neat things. You know, the little boy's leg gets caught in the bear trap, and in the movie, or in the theater, I mean, he's screaming his face off, and I'm like, shh. And a buddy of mine who was with me, he's like, what you shushing him for? You know, the dude's got a bear trap on his leg, and I'm telling him to be quiet because I don't want the big alien to come after him. So that was, you know, that was neat. Also the vault where they had to time how long they were in there. I mean, you knew, okay, well, that's going to be an issue. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get locked in there and they're not going to be able to breathe. And, you know, sure enough, it happens. So a little predictable, but it was still a neat, something that I hadn't really seen before. Maybe it's in something, but I haven't seen that. So I thought that was neat to add a little bit of tension. And the little girl figuring out the, you know, hearing the music, the Land Down by the Sea or whatever it's called. And, you know, showing how she basically has her dad's drive and intelligence, I guess, because he was pretty smart. So, you know, that was cool, especially with the relationship tension they had in the first one, to know that, you know, I'm really like him, you know, that it was like a little proud moment for her. And so, you know, this, and basically at the end, you know, between her and her brother, it ends up being like a coming of age story, because they go from being these little kids to, you know, damn near acting like adults at the last scene of the movie. So, you know, it's almost like, it's like a little coming of age story. And I thought that was neat. What I really appreciated was the fact that, you know, I was worried we were going to get a whole Walking Dead situation with the, oh, you know, the aliens aren't the problem anymore. It's humans. Okay. Yeah. And I really thought that's where they were going. Cillian Murphy, even, you know, how he hinted towards it, the people who are left, you don't want to know what they've become, you know, and while that's probably what would really happen, you know, in an apocalypse scenario, I just didn't want the main antagonists to become humans. Okay. And so I was very grateful that that group they met up with, that incident was very short-lived. It was about a little 10-minute scene in the movie or whatever, and having it in there is fine, and not making it into something bigger was even better, because I was really, once he said that, I was like, here we go. We got a Walking Dead scenario. So anyway, they didn't do it. They kept it short and sweet, and I appreciate that. The going to the island was cool. You know, the aliens can't swim and all of that. That was neat. And of course, one makes it to the island. So, and then overall, really good movie. Do I suggest you go watch it? You know, yeah, sure. If you really love going to the theater, if you do not have a home theater, make sure you go see it in the theater. If you have one and your theater is above average, you know, like an average home theater or above, I might wait to watch it at home, especially if you don't have a Dolby Cinema you can go see it in, because I really do believe that I missed out on, you know, the sound design and the immersiveness that I could have had I watched it for the first time in my theater. So now I'm really starting to second guess if I want to go see more movies at the theater, unless I drive to, the closest one to me is Baton Rouge. It's about 50 miles away. So I might make that trip for the Ghostbusters movie. But, so yeah, it was really good. You know, I think that's about all I'm going to say without, you know, giving away everything. And hopefully you enjoyed my review. And if you did, please give it a like, leave a comment. If you have any questions about this or anything, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions on home theaters. I'm not an expert. I'm an average guy who has an average home theater, but I do know a little bit. So if you have any questions about anything, go ahead and ask me in the comments section. Any suggestions about movies y'all would like me to review or anything, just leave a comment and I'll try to get to it if I can. And once again, I'm Nelson, and those are just my thoughts. Thanks.